We have been photographing and filming hot air balloons for more than 20 years. We are based in Bristol, which is the centre for hot air ballooning in Europe. In 2010, for the first time ever, Bristol and the UK was graced by a special gas balloon competition. This was the Gordon Bennett endurance race, now more than a century old. It was touched by fun, excitement, complex tactics, and ultimately heroics and tragedy. It was to be a bittersweet affair. We follow the race and its highs and lows from Bristol across Europe, and we go behind the scenes as we join GB3, the team of David Hempleman-Adams. The film is a tribute to the bravery of those that compete and two lost friends. The Gordon Bennett Cup was founded in 1906 by James Gordon Bennett Jr., son of a newspaperman in New York. The first race took off from Paris and was won by the United States, which then took its turn to host the event, a pattern of hosting which continues to this day. There was a break between 1939 and 1983 when it was restarted to celebrate 200 years of ballooning. The winning balloon is the one that travels the furthest distance. One of the teams to watch are last year's winners Sébastien Rolland and Vincent Leys of France too. And you can always count on Wilhelm Eimers and Ulrich Seal in Germany 1 to make it an exciting race. The Swiss team came in second place in 2009 and will be looking to go one better. And past winners Richard Abruzzo and Carol Reimer-Davis will be looking to repeat their success of 2004. Britain won the race for the first time in 2008. We follow GB3 Lady Luck with Clive Bailey, flight director, and pilots David Hempleman-Adams and Simon Carey. Also with the team are Joe Bailey, communications and press, and John Mason, flight controller, who won the trophy with David in 2008. Don Cameron, flight director of the event, explains the difference between hot air and gas balloons.
The two balloons, they're very different. The hot air is just floating on expanded air that's been made lighter by using the burner, whereas the gas balloon is actually using a lighter than air gas. And well, we have two main gases. We have hydrogen and helium. Hydrogen is the lightest gas of all, and its only disadvantage is that it's flammable, but we have great precautions against any problems there. Helium is a little bit poorer in lift than hydrogen, but the main problem with it is that it's fantastically expensive. Well, a hot air balloon goes up and down very simply by just using the burner a little bit more or using it a little bit less. For a gas balloon, to go up you have to pour out sand, and then to come down you operate a vent at the top, a valve, which lets a little bit of gas out, and the balloon then comes down. This new design of gas balloon it's different in that it's completely sealed. Now the problem with completely sealing a balloon is that as you go up the gas expands, and in the past where people have had the balloon tied off and sealed, you get to a certain height and the balloon will burst. So precautions have to be taken against that. On the underside of this balloon there's a cylinder of fabric which comes around and then goes upwards, and the bit that goes up in the middle is attached to a line which goes to the gas valve. So it means when it gets to an altitude where the gas expands and it would be in danger of bursting, it pushes this portion down and pulls the line and opens the gas valve, and so relieves the pressure. So it's a kind of a pressure release servo system. The great appeal of sealing the balloon completely is that you separate the hydrogen from the air entirely, and that should, well, hopefully eliminate any risk of fire.
Now in hydrogen balloons, they're very safe, but there's always a risk. You've got potentially a bomb above your head, and then we've got sea landings, we've got landings at night with power cables, so it's not a straightforward thing. You know, they're pretty brave guys.
It doesn't seem 2 years ago that we won and we managed to bring it to the UK, and that's gone really, really quick. And this is the day of registration, so we got all the different balloonists from around the world, some good friends who have come from around the world, so it's very exciting.
That was always my biggest worry in the UK, was we could easily have 5 days of high winds and rain, and that would have been the end of it. But this is fantastic. I mean, the tracks are all looking encouraging. It's going to be cold, really cold. My biggest worry, freezing tomorrow night. But yeah, I'm feeling very, very positive.
I think the weather is good and the fly is fantastic.
Are you all?
I hope.
Are you prepared? Are you ready?
Yes, no problem.
The Gordon Bennett race is a race between friends, but make no mistake, it is highly competitive. There are 20 teams in the race, and the pilots here are some of the best in the world, with many world records between them. Pilots include Arctic explorers, mountaineers, champion skiers, ex-US colonels and aircraft pilots. Briefing the pilots about the weather conditions and rules on airspace, communications and tracking are a vital part of the process. 24 hours before liftoff, a comprehensive briefing takes place. At this meeting, some of the challenges that will face the pilots are reviewed. The prevailing winds would normally take the balloons from Bristol towards Heathrow. Mark Vidler from National Air Traffic Services highlights the difficulties.
Our obviously major concern in providing, in trying to support your race across wherever, is that with the prevailing winds, our biggest worry was waking up on Sunday morning with 20 balloons hovering over Heathrow at about 6 in the morning when it woke up for business. And we were very nervous about that, but obviously we still wanted to try and accommodate your flights within the airspace as much as we possibly could.
So I wanted to get on to the UK Met Office's trajectories, the first one being the trajectory of the balloons. The crosses are 6-hour intervals, so this is a 72-hour trajectory, takes you to northern Sicily at 2,000 feet.
The flight team have worked hard to get international agreements for the balloons to travel through European airspace. But there is one exception. Italy will not allow the balloons to travel over Italian airspace during the night, and the teams would have to decide whether to make the risky journey over the Mediterranean Sea. There is a draw for the order of liftoff.
So we have Russia is first. That's Netherlands, Austria, United States, Japan, and that is Germany. That's Germany. So I can't see the colours properly with this light. That's Belgium. Finland. Switzerland. And UK. Where are we? Oh, yes.
Well, they're not flying.
France.
After the briefing, the pilots move on to the civic reception with the Lord Mayor of Bristol in the Bristol Museum.
The men and women you can see here are some of the best gas balloon teams and pilots in the entire world. They're from Russia, from America, Switzerland, Belgium, and there's even 3 teams from Great Britain itself. This is a civic ceremony. The Lord Mayor will be speaking in a few minutes' time to welcome them all to Bristol. It's quite an honour to have the Gordon Bennett race here.
Sébastien Roland and Vincent Leys. The third team from Germany, we have Wilhelm Heimers and Ulrich Sehl. From Switzerland, we have Kurt Frieden and Pascal Trechtiger. From USA also, we have Richard Abruzzo and Carol Rama Davis. Then for the United Kingdom, we have David Hempleman-Adams and Simon Carey. 2 years ago, we managed with a lot of luck to win the Gordon Bennett, which came back to Britain. And as you all know, there was no experience of putting on this event. So the first time Don called a few people over to his house 2 years ago. I remember vividly, it was winter, it was wet outside, and he brought these cups of tea and a couple of bottles of wine, and he said, how are we going to put this on? And of course, we didn't know if we were going to run this event at all. So after that first night, we all chose to make him the chairman of the UK Gordon Bennett. And eventually, he brought together quite an eclectic mix of people with a lot of different skills. And every month they would meet. I got out of it a long time ago, but every month they would meet. And as you can see, they put on a fantastic show. Extremely well organised. And today, during the briefing, when everybody was standing up and doing the weather and the air traffic control, you won't believe how much work has gone into it. And the other thing that you might not realise, nobody got paid, nobody got expenses, and actually up until now, nobody has actually got thanked. So Don, on behalf of all the other fellow pilots from around the world, could I thank you for hosting the Gordon Bennett, and thank you and your committee.